There's a certain magic in surprising a woman, not just with grand romantic gestures, but with those small, unexpected moves that slip into her day like a spark in the dark. Women might never say it out loud, but there's something irresistibly magnetic about a man who can turn ordinary moments into little jolts of excitement without asking for permission to do so. It's the kind of energy that doesn't just capture attention, it holds it. Think about it, the gentle brush of your hand against hers in the middle of a conversation, that quiet lean in to whisper something only meant for her ears, the sudden kiss when she's not even expecting one. These are not just actions, they're disruptions of routine, and that disruption is intoxicating. Because for all the plans, schedules, and predictability of life, a woman still longs for a man who can make her feel like something unexpected might happen at any moment. It doesn't have to be grand, but it must feel intentional. The key here isn't about being random. It's about being thoughtful enough to anticipate a moment before it even exists and then owning it like you planned it all along. When you own the element of surprise, you're playing with a secret code that goes straight to her emotions. It shows her that you're paying attention, that you see her as a living, breathing canvas for connection, not just a background presence in your life. Surprise in this sense is deeply personal. It's not about big gifts or elaborate plans. It's about knowing her well enough to sense when the timing is perfect to catch her off guard in the most delightful way. Maybe it's a sly text in the middle of her busy day that makes her blush while sitting at her desk. Or maybe it's picking her up after work and taking her somewhere she never thought you'd go. Without telling her the destination, what matters is that you pull her out of her head and into the moment with you. And here's the truth: women secretly want this because it makes them feel alive. The unexpected is thrilling because it shakes her sense of control just enough to awaken something primal, something playful. It's not chaos, it's a carefully measured dose of unpredictability that keeps her curious about what you might do next. This is why subtle spontaneity works so well. It bypasses the logical part of her brain and speaks directly to her feelings. When you kiss her mid-sentence, when you take her hand without asking, when you change the pace of the evening in an instant, you're creating moments that she doesn't have time to prepare for, which means she experiences them fully and purely. But here's the catch: there's a fine line between a surprise that excites and one that feels invasive. The kind of surprise women secretly crave is rooted in trust and timing. It works because she already feels safe with you, because she knows you understand her enough to read her mood, her energy, and her comfort. This is why paying attention to her cues is essential. Surprise works best when it feels like a gift, not an interruption. It's the difference between playfully pulling her closer when she's laughing and trying to make her laugh when she's clearly exhausted and needs space. The more attuned you are to her, the more effortlessly your surprises will land in that sweet spot where thrill meets connection. Owning the element of surprise also means not overusing it. If everything you do is unpredictable, it stops being exciting and starts being exhausting. The beauty is in the contrast. Most of the time, she knows what to expect from you, and then, every so often, you flip the script just enough to make her heart skip. It's like seasoning in cooking. Too little and it's bland, too much and it's overwhelming, but just enough and she'll savor it every single time. The goal isn't to be wild, it's to be intentional in a way that feels like you're letting her into a secret world that only the two of you share. In the end, mastering the art of surprise isn't about gimmicks, it's about presence. It's about being so connected to her that you can step in with something unexpected at exactly the right moment, leaving her thinking about it long after it's over. That's the kind of surprise that doesn't just make her smile, it makes her remember, and that memory, my friend, is where you truly stay. There's an undeniable pull in a man who moves with quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need to announce itself but is felt in every subtle action. Women might not openly admit it, but they secretly find themselves drawn to men who can take the lead without making it feel like dominance is about control. It's about presence, about that unshakable steadiness that tells her she's with someone who knows what he's doing and is unafraid to own it. This isn't about being loud, aggressive, or bossy. It's about creating a space where she feels both safe and excited, where your certainty allows her to relax into the moment without second-guessing where things are going. It's the way you guide her hand through a crowded room without fumbling, the way you decide on a spot for dinner without endlessly asking her where she wants to go, the way you stand just close enough to make her feel claimed without needing to say a word. Subtle dominance has a rhythm, and when you master it, it becomes second nature. You're not barking orders or trying to prove you're in charge. You're simply moving with intention, letting your actions speak in a language she can feel. The truth is, women notice these things even if they never talk about them. They notice the way you place your hand on the small of her back as you lead her through a door, the way you keep eye contact when she's speaking so she feels heard, the way you make decisions with confidence instead of hesitation. These moments seem small, but they speak volumes because they say, "I've got you," without ever needing to say it aloud. This kind of presence is intoxicating because it taps into a deep psychological need, security mixed with thrill. She knows you're steady enough to handle life, but she also feels that flicker of excitement that comes from being with someone who's in control of himself and the situation. It's not about overpowering her, it's about inspiring her trust through the way you carry yourself. And when she trusts you, she's more open to being playful, more willing to lean into the chemistry between you. That's when those charged moments where a simple look can feel like a spark start to happen naturally. The beauty of subtle dominance is that it thrives in the in-between spaces, the little moments when she's not expecting anything, but you give her just enough of a cue to shift the energy. Maybe it's the way you lower your voice when you want her attention, making her lean in to catch your words. Maybe it's the way you end a lingering look by smiling just slightly, letting her feel that tension before breaking it. Or maybe it's the way you lightly take her phone out of her hand when you want her full focus on you, not in a way that demands it, but in a way that makes it clear you're worth paying attention to. These are not grand gestures, they're micro moments of leadership that she feels in her body before her mind even catches up. And make no mistake, this is not a one-size-fits-all move. The reason subtle dominance works is because it's tailored to her, because it's rooted in understanding who she is and how she responds. If she's naturally independent and assertive, it might mean matching her energy with playful challenges and decisive actions. If she's softer and more reserved, it might mean creating a space where she feels protected enough to let her guard down. The art lies in reading her energy and adjusting without losing your own groundedness. What makes this even more powerful is restraint. A man who knows when to lead and when to let her take the reins is far more attractive than one who tries to dominate every moment. The switch between guiding her and letting her guide you creates a dynamic balance, one where she never feels stifled, yet always feels your presence. That's when the connection deepens, because she's not just responding to your confidence, she's responding to your awareness. In the end, subtle dominance is less about being in charge and more about being in tune with her, with yourself, and with the energy between you. It's the quiet assurance that no matter where you are or what's happening, you know how to steer the moment. And when a woman feels that, she doesn't just follow your lead, she enjoys every step of the dance. There's an entire world of connection that exists in the silence between words, and women know it even if they never say it. It's in the way a moment can stretch without anything being spoken, yet somehow it says more than an entire conversation. Women secretly crave the kind of man who understands this space, the man who doesn't rush to fill every silence, who knows how to use his eyes, his tone, his presence to speak directly to her emotions without a single word, because when you master the art of communicating in that space between words, you're no longer just talking to her, you're stirring something deeper. Think about how powerful a lingering gaze can be. You lock eyes just long enough for her to wonder what's on your mind, just long enough for her heartbeat to quicken before you look away. It's not a stare. It's an invitation, a signal that you're tuned in to her without needing to prove it through constant chatter. Or consider the way you lean in, closing the space between you, but stop just short of touching her. That subtle restraint creates a current of anticipation, a quiet tension that can feel electric. Women love this not because it's obvious, but because it's deliberate, because it shows you understand that attraction is as much about what's left unsaid as what's made explicit. There's also something irresistible about a man who knows how to modulate his voice in these moments. Speaking just a little slower, dropping your tone slightly lower, forces her to tune in differently. She's not just hearing your words, she's feeling them. The space between your sentences gives her time to absorb your meaning, to replay it in her mind even as you're still talking. You're not just holding her attention, you're shaping the way she experiences you. And when you combine that with physical cues, slight movements, a shift in posture, a hand resting casually but purposefully, you're layering signals that bypass the logical part of her brain and go straight to instinct. Women secretly want this because it draws them into the moment without effort. In a world where everyone talks too much and moves too fast, a man who can slow the energy down, who can let the silence breathe, stands out like a calm flame in a noisy room. She finds herself leaning into the stillness, waiting for the next thing you might do, wondering if you'll finally close that gap or keep her in suspense just a little longer. And here's the beauty. This is where real chemistry grows. The longer you keep her in that space of almost, the more her mind fills in the blanks, and the more she invests emotionally in whatever happens next. But this isn't about playing games, it's about control, timing, and genuine presence. You can't fake this kind of connection. It comes from actually paying attention to her, from reading her cues and matching the energy in a way that feels natural. If you push too hard or rush the moment, the magic disappears. If you hang back too much, it feels empty instead of charged. The sweet spot is when you're right there with her, aware of every shift in her breathing, every flicker in her eyes, and you respond with just enough to keep the tension alive. Even in group settings, the space between words can work its charm. A shared look across the room, a smile that only she understands, a pause in your conversation with someone else to let your eyes rest on hers. These create invisible threads between you that no one else can see. It's intimacy without touch, a private world built in plain sight. And the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes, until it's no longer a tactic, but simply the way you connect. At its core, this is about making her feel something without telling her what to feel. It's about letting her imagination run wild, about creating moments where her mind is as engaged as her senses. And when you can do that, when you can speak volumes in the quiet space between words, you'll find she's not just listening to you. She's drawn to you, even when you say nothing at all. There's a playful fire that comes alive when you know how to tease a woman just right, and it's something women secretly want far more than they let on. Not the childish, annoying kind of teasing that feels like you're trying too hard, but the clever, flirtatious kind that keeps her guessing where you're going next. It's that delicate balance between giving her a taste and pulling it away, between letting her think she's figured you out and then showing her she hasn't even scratched the surface. This kind of teasing isn't about making fun of her, it's about creating a push and pull tension that's both exciting and addictive. The key is to keep it light but charged. A playful challenge in your tone, a raised eyebrow when she says something bold, or a smirk when she catches you looking. These little moments become mental hooks that stay with her long after the conversation ends. Teasing works because it stirs curiosity, and curiosity is the seed of attraction. When she's curious about what you'll say or do next, she invests more of her attention in you without even realizing it. It's like giving her a puzzle she wants to solve. But the puzzle is you, and you're not in a rush to hand over all the pieces. Timing is everything. You can't flood every interaction with teasing or it loses its spark. It needs to be woven into the rhythm of your connection, playful when the moment calls for it, sincere when she needs to feel your depth. That contrast is what makes her lean in, because it shows you're not just trying to entertain her. You're engaging her in a dynamic where she feels both challenged and cherished. And when teasing is paired with genuine compliments or moments of tenderness, it becomes irresistible. She starts to see you as someone who can make her laugh and melt in the same breath. One of the most powerful ways to tease is with implication rather than outright statements. Let your words dance around the point instead of hitting it head on. If she asks what you're thinking and you just smile and say, "I don't think you're ready for that answer," you've planted a seed of intrigue that grows in her mind long after the moment passes. Or when she brags about something, you respond with, "I might need you to prove that." And suddenly, you've shifted the conversation into a playful challenge. It's not about proving you're clever. It's about inviting her into an exchange where she feels alive and engaged. Physical teasing can be just as potent. Maybe you let your fingers linger for a second longer when you hand her something, or you brush past her just enough for her to notice, but not enough for it to feel deliberate. At least not obviously. So, you might step closer, as if you're about to say something, then lean back and change the subject entirely. It's these micro-interactions that build a sense of anticipation that make her wonder what's going to happen next. The best teasing makes her feel slightly off balance, not in a way that makes her uneasy, but in a way that makes her want to keep playing along. Women love this because it creates an emotional rhythm that keeps things fresh. Predictability kills excitement, but teasing keeps her in that sweet spot where she's comfortable enough to be herself, but never bored enough to take your presence for granted. The secret is to read her responses closely. If she's smiling, leaning in, and firing back with her own playful jabs, you've got the green light. If she's quiet or closed off, you ease back and shift gears. Good teasing isn't about dominating the interaction, it's about co-creating an energy that both of you enjoy. When you know how to flirt with that teasing intensity, you're not just making her laugh, you're making her feel something. You're building moments she'll replay in her mind, little sparks that light up her day when she remembers them. And when you do it right, she won't just want more of your attention, she'll crave it.